What's up, Power Painters? Taylor Payton of tapeart.com and powerpainters.org here, coming to you today with another Power Painters tutorial. So in this particular tutorial, we are going to be kind of revisiting a blast from the past, and by the past I mean about January 2017, where I released a video detailing some helpful things regarding your concept art and characters. I recently got a question by the wonderful Danielle, whose last name I am afraid to pronounce for fear of butchering it. She was asking about how to take the female profile and make it not seem so stiff. And so that's kind of the main thing I'm going to be addressing today. However, I figured I'd just kind of build off an old video because we like continuity, and that is the sort of cute, punky female mechanic girl I designed for that character concept video. So here you see me just creating some guidelines to sort of loosely line stuff up. We like to make sure that our things are in alignment, use those good left brain modalities, even if they are still approximate. But also having just some areas to play with, so not making ourselves too stressed about staying into the guidelines, but also having them just for the purposes of the aforementioned alignment. And then I'm going in with a loose base sketch and just kind of checking the flow by running some curves through the body. And I've addressed this a couple times, especially in some of the figure drawing videos on this channel, as well as in the beginner drawing course and a lot of the tutorials that I do in the Power Painters Platinum package. It's basically just knowing that the spine is S-shaped and curves are the sort of natural way that organic things kind of line up as far as joints are concerned. Sometimes things can sort of appear like they're in a straight line, but there are really no straight lines in nature. So I use curves to sort of test poses to make sure that the legs are right. Speaking of that the legs are right, that ankle looks totally broken in the first one that I did. Mainly because there's baggy pants that she's tucking into her shoe, and that can create the illusion that the joint is broken, just because you lose some of those alignments and those curves in the actual fabric or apparel. So that's something to watch out for. I did a really quick version of that in the previous video, and I wasn't watching out for it, and you see I'm going over this one twice and I'm changing a lot. There's quite a lot of iteration to be considered, and sometimes you need to find reference just to make sure stuff lines up, or sometimes you just let it out there and a year later you're like, hey, could have done better. Anyway, this side view is essentially about just taking those alignments and transposing them, knowing how to rotate your shapes, knowing shape design in general. Again, things I've addressed on this channel. And I have taken the base sketch and I'm now going over it with some more detail, some rough approximations of where some of her smaller shapes are going to be. Now, since I only have so much screen real estate, I'm moving the figure profile closer to the front view, and I'm just drawing, or rather redrawing on a second layer, which again happens quite often on this channel. I suppose this is a good opportunity to say hello to new subscribers. And thank you to previous ones for returning. Again, a pleasure to be making videos, pleasure to be industrious again, especially in regards to power painters. Got lots of sort of plans I'm slowly bringing to fruition and ruminating on regarding the content, the brand, etc. Business doesn't come as natural to me as creating things. So I have to do a lot of reading and research and reference and other R words that probably don't interest you very much. But back to the sketch at hand, I'm essentially just taking the shapes that I laid out in the rough sketch and redoing them with more certainty. It's just way easier once you've already sketched something in once to get it to look much more cohesive the second time around with more confidence. And even then I'm flipping the canvas constantly. I didn't do a lot of rotating the canvas in this video, even though that tends to be quite a big part of my workflow as well. And I'm just sort of roughing in little details. always minding the proportions and changing things and trying to envision what she's actually looking like from the side based on the front view. This really helps if you work in 3D a lot or if you look at a lot of 3D models. Something I've recently done is open up and learn Blender. It's a free software. I'll link to that in the description box. I don't know if I'll ever do any of that for this channel, but it's really helpful to be able to model and sculpt 3D anatomy as well, just because as many modalities as you can get for processing a certain subject I think is really helpful. So for figure drawing, let's say you go to life drawing, you've done some sculpture, whether that's traditional or digital, you have studied it from books, you have studied your own anatomy, so you have it physically. There's all these ways to get information into your system, and you're going to find ones that work really well for you and ones that are a little less intuitive. So just play around with the way that you capture information. But as an artist, it's usually going to be strongest through your visual sort of modality. So take that into account and just try to really pay attention. Try to figure out where the flow is in all the limbs. Like I said, things don't usually line up straight. Some bones appear very straight, but when you're wrapping tendons and ligaments and musculature over those bones, they're going to have those rounded forms and muscle bellies and peaks. So you'll get a feel for this the more that you start to do anatomical studies and do these turnarounds. Like for my job, I've done a lot of these. I've done a lot of turnarounds, and it's just something that you develop a workflow for. Yeah, thank you for watching. Again, remember the S curve. Always try to consider the way that the spine is flowing, the limbs are flowing, and try to figure out the position of the feet versus the neck and the head and the upper back and lower back and the pelvis. These are all benchmarks or earmarks, if you will, that allow you to juxtapose them and thus not have such stiff feeling figures. I talk a lot about that in the beginner drawing course weeks 9 through 12. Thank you very much for watching. Again, I'm Taylor Payton of taypayart.com. There's a sale going on over there for my courses if you'd like. And there's also powerpainters.org for some cool blog posts. Other than that, I will catch you guys in the next video. Happy creating. And if you want, leave me some comments. Comments are good too, because then I know what to work on and what people are struggling with. So that's always a useful thing, feedback. So have an awesome day. Happy creating. Catch you next time. Peace.